So is it visible and audible? Yeah, Jinan, is it visible? Everything is fine.
You have to talk a little louder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. We are hearing.
Yeah.
Speaker, make it full. I think that may be better.
Yeah.
Make the speaker 100%. No. Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll go through observations of Udbhav. So he is our child for 2 years, 4 months now.
I can everybody hear? I can't hear properly. Veeresh,
Hello.
can anybody else has a problem? Are you able to listen properly? Hear well? Yulinda,
The
Asha,
voice is feeble. The
is it
voice
okay,
is feeble.
Suhan?
No. They should be a bit louder. I mean, it's
You have
feeble.
to be louder.
Yes.
Might be a problem
The
with the
problem
mic.
is not with the speaker, it's your mouth.
Okay.
You have to be louder.
Yes.
Maybe you have to come close to the speaker and speak a bit loud.
I connected. I speak. Yes. Yeah. So today we'll walk through observations of Udbhav. He's currently 2 years, 4 months.
Viresh, I think still there is a problem.
No, I think there is some background noise. You can mute.
Would you like to no, Viresh? I think there's a problem. I think maybe would you like to remove the headset and then speak?
Yeah.
Maybe that may be better.
Hello, is it fine now?
Slightly better. I think you have to be louder. The problem is.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. My journey with observations started 1.5 years ago when my son was at around 9, 10 months old. So yeah, even before that also I was documenting few things, but it was not like systematic thing. And these observations got enhanced. I mean, I can say clear observations started once I attended being in beauty workshop at Thrissur in Kerala, which happened in December 2023. That was when things got started. Yeah, so today we will, I would like to cover mainly 4 topics. So first is this first 1 year of observations. This briefly I can go through, and mainly this is the main section, like how the world teaches the child or learning the world, and we'll talk about expressions or gestures, how he started his own way of communication through expressions, gestures, all these things. And I will also just go through some of the children in our nearby community, so how the value development is actually happening. So at the end I will just talk about few reflections of my own. Yeah, so let's start with this 1 year of observations. So yeah, during this time we have absolutely don't have any idea about observation and all those things. So we just started whatever the child is just doing here and there. We just started writing. In 1 to 2 months we see like there is no division happening, and the third month he was listening to sounds and move a bit here and there, and responding to voice. He can slightly recognizes voice, and then he's demanding for food, like he just put his finger in the mouth and then he start demanding. That's what we have seen. And also in the fifth month he was not just trying to sit at one place actually, so somehow we need to carry him, or some object needs to be I mean it keeps moving in front of his eyes so that he's happy actually. So, and if the object is making some sound, he's more connected to that actually. So that's what we observed. And yeah, in 6th month actually, yeah, he can recognize some voices and started with some semi-solid foods. And in the 7th and 12 months, yeah, he just started making sounds, and uh, and he can recognize sense of touch also. For example, if I'm just holding him, and he can actually sense whether I'm holding it properly or not. For example, because of some tiredness, let's say if I keep this my hand at a wall when I was holding it, right? So he used to object that. So he just recognizes spontaneously, and then he say some kind of expressions he makes. And in 9th, 10th month, and this is where our observations, I mean, the main systematic way of viewing actually started, I can say. And yeah, there that time we observed that there is some object is actually fallen on the ground, right? So he will basically don't hold full fingers, like he just use only 2 fingers, kind of a thing. And we observed with some different children, like their I think it varies from children to children. And in the 11th, 12th month, we have some good observations already. And he started exploring sand, mud, water, and usually we take outside wherever there is a good place for all these activities or explorations. And he started exploring those things. And we also observed that he can understand the space, and suppose if some object is uh, near to him, and let's say if he's not able to catch that object, so what he will do is he will just if there is any base like a paper or something, he used to uh, uh, move that paper so that the ball or something will be near to him. So that is one thing. And also suppose he started throwing balls something, and let's say if he's not able to throw the ball for a distance, so he will go to that place and then drop the ball. So these are some observations. And yeah, and yeah, this is the main section, what teaches the child or learning the world. So yeah, so yeah, so what I can say is it just start from the world actually. And yeah, main thing is like what we observed with all these explorations. I will just share one after the other, and whatever you see the age or something in the right hand side, that is the age of the child at which this exploration or this observation taking place. Uh, yeah, so that is one thing. And also mainly what we initially we started observing with senses, then to objects, then we started observing as a whole. And this is when we just started observing like what he was actually doing with a given object. And there is no, absolutely there is no verbal communication. It's just uh, he is exploring something, and we are just seeing as an observer. And let's just start this. This is a video. Just play. Yeah. So what I'm trying to tell here is like mainly it's the object which actually invites the child to learn the object, or it's mainly start from the word, which basically teaches the child, uh, or a form or something. So which basically an object itself provide some sort of thing that the object is getting experienced. If you see, right, these are the straight iron rods at some construction place. So he's just walking across the across that lines, and he's experiencing that line nature of that particular object. And yeah, so mainly it's the form or shape of the object, whether it is a round or whether it is a straight line or whether it is an arc shape. So it's mainly start with the form. And of course, there are some sensory experiences. It's based on the object, the color, texture, sound, smell, taste, all these things basically provide something such that the object is fully experienced.
Acha, listen, just give me 1 minute. I think if people have anything to ask, it is better you ask right away. Don't wait for the last minute.
Sure, sure. I will
That will be better. Because Veeresh, I think your
Yes,
voice
sir.
is not very clear. So,
Yeah, I just changed it.
Oh, and the other thing is that maybe you should, do you want to share the sound from this thing? Is there anything that people needs to listen in your videos?
Yeah, I'm sharing sound also.
No, you have to actually share the sound in the, where do you do that?
Yeah, I think this is what I was using.
No, it's actually on top. On top, you click that 3 dots on top. There you will find something called share sound. You have
Yeah,
shared that, no? Can everybody hear the sound of the videos? Why is that nobody? Okay. Yeah, no problem. So if you have any doubt, please, you want to clarify, keep clarifying, and whenever you want. Yeah, carry on, Veeresh. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we're observing different things what the child explores. So the whatever we see here is a normal tab which typically opens up when some rotation happens. So which means the rotational aspect of that particular object is getting experienced here, which we don't teach or anything. Nothing happens. It just happens on the spot, like the way he experiences other objects. So these are the rotational thing, and I'd like to share this video. I think please check voice. I mean, you're able to hear this voice also. I just shared voice also. Let me check. Yeah. So uh, yeah, mainly the object, which is a box, which is in round shape. It spontaneously, it's the first time when the child actually touches with that. So he's naturally exploring that roundness, and he's basically experiencing that roundness. And also based on uh, the object, naturally, whether one hand can take place or two hands can take place. So in case of round plastic box, we observed that naturally the two hands will take place, and that he will experience that the rotational aspect of that particular object. Yeah. So it's again like based on the form or shape of the object, and yeah, here I can say that like I observed that learning the round shape or roundness is actually happening. Yeah, and there are many examples for this rotatable objects, and what I can say is like it's not just I can say that it's not just the rotation. It basically started here, so it might have started at early place, and slowly that's getting experienced. And whenever they experience a different object, so automatically, naturally, whatever they learned in the past, so that applying is also happens at that time actually. So this is one more. So here the difference is there is a stick, and here this is also round in shape, but there is a space and space between object and his exploration, and also there is a slope which is also helping the child to experience that particular thing. So we can just watch this. Yeah. So, like we were just outside, and this is a stick after some old age one. He like to explore that kind of stick or anything. So one day he was just hitting that surface, but suddenly started moving that particular object. I mean, I can't say moving. So it just happens like the rotational aspect. And here we can, the difference is the space is also involved actually. And this is one more thing which I can show. This is a tap which typically found in these Indian rails. And whenever we travel in trains, so he used to experience that, he used to explore that particular tap. Yeah. So typically the tap is of different nature, like we need to push up so that the water opens up, but that doesn't do anything with the child actually. So the child just explores whatever he was learned from the previous thing. That's what I can say. And here he is actually rotating that particular tap, and he's experiencing that roundness. And yeah, and this is what I told, like wooden stick. And so it's mainly, what I can say is, like, it's mainly the mechanical properties or mechanical aspects of the object are learned during exploration. So each object is having a different type of the mechanical aspects involved. When the child explores its first time, we observe that he just start learning one after the other. Like he rotate little bit, then the amount of rotation increases, something like that. So it keeps happening. And yeah, in this case, so there is nothing to do with the function of the object. Like typically we need to push up the object so that the water drops. I mean, but there is nothing to do with the function of the object. So here the child explores the object as it is. I mean, yeah. So any questions till now? Hope this the audio is also available. I mean, available, right? Yeah, so we can move to next slide. Yeah, this is a different exploration. Again, here also the full rotation happens, but in a different way. So here he is exploring the bicycle pedal, and we can see that one side actually is rotating in an maybe I can say like anti-clockwise direction, because the freeness happens in that case. And due to that object, so he was not able to complete full cycle, so he naturally goes to other side and then experience the remaining of action, and that happens in clockwise. But these are just words, I can say, like anti-clockwise or clockwise. These are just words. For the child, there is nothing like that, so he just explores based on the form of how that rotation happens, and the pedal rotates, all these things actually. And yeah, we have some few examples for this partial rotation. I call, like, it's again based on the object. Like if the object is actually so these are also getting explored. So we used to see that naturally, so it doesn't actually move. I don't have videos for this, but naturally it doesn't move like a full cycle kind of a thing. So it's a different thing. And yeah, definitely with one hand, these explorations we observe. And this is another kind of a tap, which is interesting one, typically found with these water cans. So here we need to do an up down movement to open the tap actually. So the first, when we observe the child was actually moving a partial rotation to explore that object or to open that water. But slowly we observed that he was naturally trying to open up, like push up, push down kind of a thing. So he does that. And yeah, again, it's just the world is teaching, I can say, like it's the object or the form of the object is mainly uh, teaching the child. Yeah. And yes, so we can play this video. Yeah, I can play. Yeah, so what we observed here is actually this left side one, which is a chair. So in the beginning, right, you used to push that object, and this push or pull is it's again just for our own communication, but for the child there is nothing something like that. So yeah, so it's mainly then slowly he started pulling the object. So the same child and the same kind of a surface, and he started pulling the object. Then slowly the right side one I showed, right? So even with this is a table, and even same thing with that. So he started pushing. Then what he will do is he will do an upside down, and then he will push it. So he just I can say that so he will just change the object such a way that, right, so he basically experiences that particular thing. And this is right side one is just a photo where children are exploring, like three children are exploring the child. So where what they do is like they just move, like they just put like a handle, kind of a vehicle, I can say, and they can push it easily. So they are actually doing push. So it's mainly the object or the form. It invites the child to explore, experience, and explore that particular way. Yeah. Again, I can say, I can put it like, so there is an inside out or outside in. That's what the child actually explores. But yeah, push or pull is just our way of viewing things, but it's not the child way of exploration. Yeah. So any doubts still? No? Like, I mean, any clarifications or anything?
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Did you experience, like we discussed earlier, any tantrums or things like that?
Yeah.
Any tantrums? Mila, what did you ask?
Yes, the tantrums.
Okay.
I'm asking if he experienced things like that.
Tantrum. I couldn't get it.
Yeah, child getting angry and crying and all kinds of things, no?
Yeah. I mean, we saw that. Like we observed, like whenever his energy levels are down, like he was hungry, he was not having proper sleep. We saw that kind of a thing actually. So I mean, we also observing that, like how his energy levels are in the morning and how it actually shifts. So we used to be a bit prepared actually, and child was like more explorative. I can say he makes more noise also, but yeah, that's how it is actually. But yeah, of course, when he's fully fine, right? So all these exploration just happens one after the other. It's spontaneous. So
Veeresh, can you please explain
yes.
when exactly does the child do the tantrum? When did you first observe?
I observed when he was not well actually.
Pardon?
He was unwell. Like he was unwell because of little bit of fever.
Those points are very important. See, what causes tantrum is what we are trying to decode.
Okay.
Understand, now? What is the trigger?
Trigger
So
is,
first experience that you
observed. Yes.
Tell again. Yeah, the next one.
It's mainly fever, and it's because of not eating at night times actually. Like the child is not eating because of something. Then morning he was bit tantrum.
Meaning hungry. He has hunger.
Yeah, hungry. Yeah, hunger. Right? It's mainly hunger. It just starts from hunger.
Yeah.
And few times we observed actually. And of course, let's say sometimes it demands to go outside. Even that time also, we have to take it outside actually. So even that time he was bit like he was demanding, like he just do that actually.
Yeah, but you see, the question that we need to answer is that is it because he is experiencing resistance? Is he experiencing?
No.
So, because the tantrum will come when you are not allowing the child to do something.
Okay. Yes.
Understand?
Yeah. No, that, I mean, I don't think
So you would be, see, this question is very important because the kind of tantrum that you see now in the modern childhood was almost absent in the indigenous rural societies, because in that context they don't have any kind of restrictions.
Yeah.
They don't have to ask anybody's permission. There was a very different kind of an environment. That is why we have to find out whether is tantrum throwing is a natural response, or is it because of some things that are happening in that situation. Am I right, Mila? Is it what we are trying to explore?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understand, no, Veeresh? So you have to very carefully
understood,
look at it and then answer. Because when the child is not well, that's a different matter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Understand.
interesting because I think in this lack of understanding, I'm almost thinking that no, because it just, even in understanding it is like a little foreign. So, but yeah, I would love to hear more as you reflect more in time.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, carry on, please.
Yeah, so and explore. Yeah, what I mean is like there are few objects so that which he imbibed in his surroundings. So he will explore like spoons, all these things. So here we can see that so the same spoon is getting explored different ways. This is one thing. Yeah, so the first observation was happened around 1 year, 3 months old. So where a little spoon, he was actually typically, yeah, he's actually exploring with two hands actually. Like he was keeping like this, and he's trying to put some mud or sand into that. And yeah, slowly, we observed that he's actually holding the spoon somewhere near to the edge. So here you can see that he's actually still holding at the edge of that particular spoon. And yeah, now we observe that he hold it a normal way. I can if I have to use that word. And yeah, this happens naturally. And this is one more thing with the same spoon. Since we are not actually much I mean, we are not using the spoon to eat kind of thing at home, especially, right? So still he doesn't know how to, I mean, he actually holds with both hands, and then he eats it actually. So he can't actually even now he just have the same thing. And maybe I can, yeah, that's because of we never eat something like that at home. And yeah, and few objects. So naturally the child is actually moving much closer and then exploring. This is a coconut actually, and is actually imitating the peeling of the coconut. So typically we keep at some place and then do that, but he's actually moving closer in his own way. So he's just holding near to him, and then using the pen as a mainly a peeler kind of a thing, and then he started uh, uh, imitating that peeling thing. So yeah, same thing like this hold and exploring. What I mean is like any object, if you're just trying to keep it with hand and then want to do something like a broom needs to clean surfaces. So all these things we closely observe that the child actually used to hold that bit end, then slowly actually he moves the hand much closer or trying to balance. So, and, again, based on the object, this is one interesting thing where it's again based on the object. So left side you can see that this is a tablet sheet which is a empty one. So what he used to do is whenever he got that object, right, so he used to press that particular tablet exactly in the middle, actually, like middle, and he used to press like this. It's again based on the object form, or I can say. And slowly we observed that uh, that same thing was observed with the switches, actually electric switches at home. And can you see this? Yeah. So initially, when he was exploring these electric switches, so same way, like he used to press that particular electric switch exactly in the middle, but just nothing happens actually. So just tight, and slowly he moved to the edges, and then he just make that thing. Initially, he was just sensing that as a sound. Then he was actually seeing some light is getting changed. So slowly he was actually looking at whether the fan is rotating. Fan started rotating. All these things. So I could observe that there is a connection between these two, and just trying to put it here. Yeah, now he just does that normally, like whenever there is a switch, like it just happens the usual way. Uh, yeah, there are some objects where this stress and release happens. So maybe it shows video. So he's exploring the elasticity. So there was a ribbon band actually. So and so it just happens automatically. Like he is just trying to stress it and then release it, and he was just trying to hold it to some object. So that happens naturally. So again, I can say like it's mainly the world teaches the child actually. So and there is no teaching or anything from our end. So yeah, so naturally based on that object again, right? So here both hands are involved. So for a normal elastic band and even for a long ribbon, so at a bus, so we observe that it just uses two things to pull like this, like. And recently we also observed that for a seat, I mean car seat belt, right? So there is a possibility of just even uh, stressing or even pulling that particular object with one hand. So and yeah, this is unfold or fold. Like, again based on the object or form. So you're just trying to fold or unfold. So the first one is unfold. Yeah, this is folding. So yeah, so the first one is actually just a paper kind of a thing. So I was just doing something. So he just started exploring with them, and he was just flattening them, all of them out. Like he was just touching and even sensing that it's really flat. He was actually unfolding and then making it flat. And the right side one is actually a small carpet or mat, I can say. So usually he nowadays he just fold it. We never observed that he actually unfold it, but he was just folding it. So both cases might be possible, but I just putting my observation, and naturally based on that object again. So we are just doing that. So any questions, till now, or we can. Yeah, so maybe I can give context where he was again exploring this chair, and initially he just put that two legs in a small, I think, hole here actually. So he was not able to move actually. Maybe let's first start this video. Yeah, so initially started as a movable object. So you want to move that object somehow. Then what happens? So he just started listening to the sound, then started exploring the sound as well as the movable object. So obviously it's a rhythmic and yeah, so all these actions are spontaneous. So what my main point here is like we observed that. So you just start with one thing, and if he sensitize understanding something from that, then he just carry on with that. So he doesn't actually hold our condition, I can say. So he just experiences in the real time. So this is one example for that. And these are some interesting activities at home or kitchen. Mainly two activities into one. So what I mean here is actually we observe that whenever the child actually imbibes, he imbibes things, right? So and he doesn't want to imbibe one at a time. Like he just that just happens naturally. Imbibing just happens, and so that exploration, whenever he is actually near to that particular object, that exploration happens naturally, and also two activities, different activities from our view, can just happen in a one way. Just a video. Yeah, mainly we can come to this, but yeah, mainly what I'm saying is actually uh, uh, there is a pre video for this. So where he actually started pouring some water onto that tawa or pan, and initially it just started as a dosha making. So typically we used to do that. Then we also observed that the same thing. Uh, uh, Typically we don't actually move that pan here and there like this for dosha. So that is mainly for the roti making. So we used to in order to making it properly, right? We used to rotate that particular roti to the edges. So all these things happen. So here we can see that there are two things, and it just happens in one exploration. Yeah, started by pouring water or tawa, then yeah, rotating tawa. So we never rotating tawa for all this dosha making actually. So that's a different one. So for a child, it's the same thing. Like it just explores, and yeah, maybe yeah. So this is actually there is a small cart at our home, and he actually imitates that the cart is actually a seller. Like we have we observed that there are two different types of sellers we usually watch at our locality. Like one is used to carry that objects with like I can say cart, four-wheel cart. One with usually keep some objects in their head and then they move and sell objects. So he actually seen both of them, and when that when he was actually imitating that this particular object to be a cart, right? So then he was actually uh, uh, making both the things actually. So he's just putting his head and then he's selling the items. So typically the one who sells keeping his head, right? So he never moves this cart, and the person who is actually using this cart never keeps some items ahead. So but it just happens into one two activities actually. yeah, we are just dividing it, but they are not like. So, yeah, these are some examples. These observations of same object in different surfaces. Yeah, so here the it's the almost same type of object, which is actually the round shaped pipe, and but the surfaces are different, and also the observation which takes place, these two are different actually. But in one case, what you see is the child is actually is making the object rotatable, and in another case is actually using that particular object to level that sand on a particular piece of some brick or something. So he's trying to yeah. So, and also you can see in the first case that the measurement happens naturally actually. So in first case he was actually moving that object to rotate, but if you see the third observations very clearly, so he's actually freeing his legs down such that the object naturally moves. So actually, naturally, that measurement of how much I need to pull it so that that happens, that naturally happens. So this is an example for different surfaces with the same object, but there are two different explorations. And again, these are the same object but different explorations. Yeah. Yeah. So the object here is a cucumber and glass actually, and both happened at the same instance. Yeah, one he was actually imitating a wooden stick, barren wooden stick, where we used to make chapati or roti kind of thing. So he was actually imitating with the cucumber. Suddenly, his exploration changes. Next time, he basically uses that as a pistol. Like he actually put like this, and then he drinks some juice kind of thing. So the same object, different exploration, the same instance of time. So any questions till now? I think, yeah, we also observed that even the surface of the object, which is even though that is a static in nature, right? So that is actually luring the child to explore its own thing. So naturally, the child does that. So he was actually keeping some stones on a pot, the curvature. Typically, he started with putting uh, the stones on the exactly in the middle, so it is not falling actually. But he was actually exploring that curve. Like, yeah, you can see this video. Yeah, so yeah, so I can say that a surface is also an object. So I mean, of course, we are differentiating about exploration actually. It's just one example. So there are many examples like the slant slopes, curvatures, and any of hard surfaces like roads or something, and even soft surfaces. So they are getting experienced naturally. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So measure naturally. I mean, this I'm just trying to put a separate slide so that I can just talk about this measurement. So this measurement, whatever we say, so it happens naturally with children. I mean, with what we observe. So when the left side one, right, he is actually cleaning some fruits. He was actually initially was started using with a mug. He was taking water and then throwing it on them and then cleaning it. So when the object is when the water is actually almost level to the ground, so he cannot actually take it from this one. So we observe that he's actually taking the he's actually replacing this mug with the bucket itself. So you just take everything and then pour it. So that happens naturally, I can say. And this is one interesting one. Yeah. So this kind of a rotating gate. So he was exploring first time, and he was actually pulling that gate. So typically, the way we used to pull the gate, I mean, just pull it so that it opens up, or else push it so that it opens up. So he's actually exploring it by pulling. But the moment he pulls, right, the door is closed. And I was observing, interestingly, and he was actually uh, slowly he actually moved to a place where he can understand that it can be openable, and he moved to a place and then slowly pushes that object. So, and once that the the gate is opened, or else I can say once enter exit is done, he normally closes that as a normal door, which means we can see that whatever the past experience with a given object, that is carry forwarded here. But naturally, it's although it's a new one, that experience of opening the door, like the measurement, how much I need to open, and if you clearly see, it doesn't actually move like the normal the way we do. So he moved little bit so that he can exit. So we can see that. So this measurement of space for entire exit, it's naturally happened. Yeah, vehicle exploration. Yeah, actually was more connected with vehicle from the childhood. Mainly the autos, what we see here in the city place, and yeah. But even though they are actually, I can say that. Yeah, so we visited a different place. We don't have any toys at home. We visited some of our relative place. There we have some sort of toys, and there we observed that even that toy, for example, the left side one is kind of a bike actually, like a bike. It's kind of a toy, I can say. So even that he was exploring as a natural one. And if you see that he was actually typically we the slide towards the side to actually stand that vehicle, this kind of bikes. So he was doing same thing, even with a different kind of a sense of an object. And you can see this video. Yeah, so it's a toy actually. It's kind of an auto. So one of our relative bought that, and he was actually it's a toy, but he was actually exploring that in a normal way. He was trying to put his leg onto that object, I can say. So even same with mobiles actually. So even the mobile phones. So what we observed is like he was not much used to even these phones, but one or two times we also observed that he just uses phone as a normal one. Like we use phones in front of him just to call someone. So he just uh, he somehow he understand that, and he just do the same way. But hardly we saw he actually export this mobile phone. But he was just uh, treating the mobile phone as a normal one. And of course, absolutely, there is no screen time or anything. Actually. So, and he can't even
आजा
sit
आजा अरे
in front of his
आजा
TV or something like.
क्या हुआ कोई बात है
Please mute. I think. Yeah, and interestingly, what we observed is like in the process of observing something, but we also figured out that naturally some movements happens with the body actually. So with the senses mainly, with the touch, especially we observe. So in these two, somehow I lost the video, but was beautiful. Like he was actually looking at something. One of our neighbor's house. He was watching some interaction with others, but his hand is just moving like this. So there is a door of a small door of a box. He was actually moving that particular object like this. So that, and he was nowhere actually seeing that. So that's what we observe. Even when we go outside, also, right? So naturally, his contact with that surface, with his toes or leg, right? So just it numbs, like it just start happening like that. This is one example. Yeah. Yeah. So here we can observe that his actually right foot is on a side light, which is typically elastic in nature. It's not fully elastic, but it's bit hard elastic kind of thing. And sir, I should not use elastic, but I think it's kind of moving, and he's actually spring movement kind of thing. So he just look at somewhere and he just listen to something, but these body movements happens. So I observed that naturally they learn even with this touch or something, uh, without their any effort. So hands, legs, toes, they just happens actually. These are very minute observations. We have a lot of videos even for this, but just showing some of the some I can we can see clearly. Yeah, so connection to animals. So this is one interesting thing where he was from his childhood. We what we observed is actually he was more connected with the environment outside, and mainly with the animals actually, like street dogs or goats and some whatever available there actually. So yeah, just one example to. Yeah. She was actually interacting with the particular dog first time actually. So it just first time, and he was just yeah. I mean, we can the video gives more details. So you have more connection to the animals, like even the goats, whatever available, right? So used to keen on it, and then he actually without any fear or anything. There is no fear. So he just explores actually. So
So, Viresh, the
yes, yeah.
one doubt here is that uh, did you and Pranita had connection with dogs?
Yes, yes, yeah, we had it. Yeah.
Ah.
So yeah, I was about to tell that. So yeah, we usually go outside to feed some
Hmm.
stray dogs, like some whatever is there, like curd or something. So I mean, naturally we go outside. He comes with us, and
Ah.
he started at very early age itself, like even I think some 10 months, even.
So,
Uh,
two things here. One, the dog is a stray dog, not your
yeah,
house
stray dog.
dog. Correct? No,
No,
that's
no.
number one.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yes,
that's very important too.
yes,
And
yes.
you
So we
never
don't have any dog.
restricted the child or anything like that. The child naturally went and started to
No,
play. Oh
no.
yeah, okay,
Yes, yes. So there is no even we
yeah,
don't fear for that. I mean, there's no fear in us, and he just explores. Like we don't have any dog at home actually.
yeah.
So yeah, I think these are some of these observations mainly from the how the world teaching the child. And if any doubts or any queries till now, yeah, we can just start now. Um, yeah, any questions or anything? Otherwise, we can to next section.
Well, Veeresh, one thing, like when your child approached the dog, right? How did dog really responded to your child? Was it like very hostile, afraid, or
No,
they were able to correct easily?
yeah, I mean, he just initially was not going like we used to feel, right? So he was observing, I mean, he was imbibing that, and then slowly he was
Okay.
just contacting, like he was curious to touch that. He would just touch something, and then he will come back like that. So that's how it slowly started. Then actually, he will usually he will go near to them and then just uh, a little bit play with that. So even the dogs, what I observed is, I think they never actually, I mean, actually objected anything. So it just happened. Actually.
Yeah, so this is a typical fear that adults impose on children,
Hmm.
that they are afraid of everything. So
Yeah.
they begin to
Yeah.
impose, don't touch, don't go, don't do, whereas
Yeah.
the child has no fear.
Yes.
And actually, most animals don't actually do anything to children.
Yes.
And all these are assumptions that, people usually have, and then they prevent any interaction with the world. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. 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 Yeah. Yeah. We saw like, yeah, some of the street lights. So children, they will fear. I mean, we observed like some other children, they fear like, yeah, they will come here to their parents, like even if the dog is somewhat outside. So definitely there is a thought-induced fear which is put by the parents or someone. So yeah, the expressions are gestures. So yeah, I mean there are many. What I can say is like we observed his own way of communication through expressions or gestures. So which means that just happened naturally to him. So we'll just I'll just share few of the observations. Definitely there are many observations, but I'm just trying to highlight only few things. Um, yeah. So maybe I can say like there is a single expression for two different activities. So if child want to communicate that he want to explore this particular activity, right? Even there are two different activities, but there is same expression actually. So we need to be very closely watching so that we can understand what he was actually referring. And even there are two different expressions for the same or single activity. And of course, sometimes definitely this expression and the sound go together. So you cannot actually point and then tell, but expression and sound go together. So this is just one example I'm just showing because these expressions are just happens spontaneously. So it was difficult to capture in a video or anything. So I'm just having few of them. I'm just showing. Yeah. So if you see, right, so the child is doing this like uh, yeah, so we were at a train platform or somewhat closer to that. So he's actually watching a train moving away from him, and he just watched till the end, I mean, until his vicinity. He can't see that actually. Then he's telling this one. So he's expressing that the train he can't see no more or the train gone. So that is one example for this one. Yeah, and let's just explore a few things, a few of his expressions. So yeah, so the one what we saw just now. So even to tell which is not there, someone are not there at home, or something is left or gone. So for all these things, so for a child it's the same thing. He was started like that, and to communicate, if you want to sleep, right? So he uses this. So what he does is he does this to her mother, so that he's nearing to sleep. We want to go to sleep, and even slowly what we saw is not. We also observed that the same expression was used to communicate mother that we want to feed him so that he can come back again. So that is one expression, and this I think for drinking water, right? So we just oof like this. So we just do that, and yeah. And for example, if you want to go outside and for something, right? So he just doesn't talk anything. So he will just hold our finger and then start pulling. That is an expression that, or he is actually communicating that we have to get up now and then ready to go out actually. And yeah, even this also sometimes, yeah. So he was expressing to go out, and especially when there is a rainy days, right? So we will carry with umbrella and something. So he was understand that, and even he will just show umbrella to tell that, to communicate that we want to go out even in rain. And sometimes he will just show like this, so showing his head with right hand. Right? It's an expression telling that it's rain. Somewhere he saw that, and sometimes that is also for telling that we want to go out actually. And he just does this, like hitting on the floor with right hand, just to and another person. So the same thing, like all these expressions, right? So even with a third person, it's not with just parents. So even with any family members or any outside persons, he does the same thing. So he just communicates with, I think I can say, any language person with all these expressions. So yeah, and also yeah, taking dosha pan or something, right? So making sounds to tell that tell that his preferences to the food at that particular event actually. Yeah, and also he will give scarf to his mother, or there is any we usually in our winter, typically we wear some sweater. So he understand that whenever we wear that, we are going out. So he will slowly catch that and then he will give it to us, and he is expressing that we will go outside actually. Yeah, and also he will actually, if there are anything what we are doing right now, right? So he will just keep all these things outside. Like, let's say I'm writing something, right? So he will just slowly keep that outside. So he's actually expressing that, just um, stop activity, let's explore something. Yeah, and these are also very interesting things where he was walking and twisting right hand, like, so let's to communicate, just follow me, or go out, right? So what he just do is he just does this, like he will just see like this and then he will do that. So one important thing here is we never use that kind of expressions or kind of symbols to communicate that way. So which is nowhere actually he has seen, probably, and he was just doing that naturally. And yeah, if he hear any sound, right, he was actually moving here and there, bit of movement and dancing, and he was telling that he's hearing some sound, and there is some plays going on actually. And of course it's from a long distance as well. So, and this is also interesting thing where he uses this direction pointer, direction finger as a pointer towards something. So with his right hand. So for example, we were staying at some fourth floor or something. So if you want to go down, right? So he uses this expression. So he naturally built that. So, and even precisely points, even at home, let's say there is some place so where you want to go and get the things, and he will tell like this. So like he clearly shows even the direction. So how is naturally he does all these things actually. So these are some of the expressions. Yeah, of course, there are many expressions and very interesting one. And yeah, but yeah, again, in the continuation of these observations, right? So once he started, uh, came to making sounds and started using words, these expressions slowly came down actually. So still there are a good number of expressions, but it significantly came down actually. Yeah, so this is mainly about expressions. So any questions on this? So we can, otherwise we can next topic. Yeah. So maybe I can give some context to this. So once we move to a new house nearby.
Bit louder,
there are
bit
some-
louder.
Yeah. So yeah, so we were actually nearby our house, right? So there are some caretaker families actually. So usually they work at some place in home or outside. They do some manual work, and somehow luckily I can say we were close connected to those children actually. So and the children of those families, so I can say maybe some 8 9 children we used to see regularly. And absolutely we have there are a lot of value in value development which happen naturally to those children. And we can clearly differentiate. For example, if two child comes, I can clearly differentiate. So the one who is actually uh, i mean uh, uh, from these kind of a caretaker community children, and one who is actually uh, uh, I mean, typical normal one actually. So the children, I can say, like they are very explorative, and we can talk about few of them. Like, yeah. So when it comes to exploration with outside, right? So there is no limitation actually. So absolutely there is no limitation. So they just explore everything. So in this, I'm just giving one slide, just an example of how all the children come together, and then they're actually there is a badam tree at our nearby our home. They were actually plucking out all these badam fruit, and they were exploring those things. So we can see absolutely uh, there is no fear or anything. Like they're just exploring. And also they just do extensive exploration, not just a few minutes actually. So they just keep on doing something, and here and that, and they're very spontaneous. So they just does. Even we can't, I mean, it's I can say it's a challenging to the observer what they're doing. Otherwise it's very interesting. And yeah, so all these objects are explored naturally and prolonged duration of activities. And this is the main point. So there is a very good extent of freedom. So their parents never, I hardly see their parents call those children unless it's very late, or let's say want to get up early something, unless something, right? So they gave absolute freedom to these children, and they explore nearby places, everything. And yeah, mainly I will talk about value development with these children actually. Uh, so they have a lot of values actually. So mainly whatever I observed, like I can say, like so they take care of these younger children naturally. Here you can see in this photo, uh, hardly they know Udbhav, maybe few times, like 1 or 2 times I can say, and they were exploring in sand. So one girl you can see here. So the way she was holding Udbhav actually, like he was around maybe 2 years or something, but he was actually holding the child beautifully. So even we can't do that. Even parents can't do that. Actually. So and they even this the younger children demand something, right? So they give whatever they ask. And yeah, sorry. So even whatever they explore, right? So let's say the child accidentally broken something, so they say it's okay. I mean, we don't want to worry. Like we will do it next time. Like he is fine. So that kind of a people actually. And yeah, and yeah, this video is from one of our nearby park where there are mainly two children. They regularly come and explore this place, and they play, explore with the swings, lot of things. So we can see that these two children, yeah, one is this one and this one. Yeah, they are from this caretaker family, and I was surprised that the amount of value they carry is amazing actually. Like they take care of these younger children, and if any new one is actually coming, right? So they're siblings, and if any new one is coming and let's want to explore this particular swing or something, right? So they're always helping. Even the child, you can see that. So she's actually swinging that with keeping Udbhav at the middle, and so that was beautiful. Like, so there are a lot of values they carry. Yeah, these are recent observations. Yeah, there is a nearby auto shed in our area where now once these autos or some kind of four-wheel cars, right? So once their day business day is over, right? So they will keep that vehicles in our shed. So I constantly observe that these children, like here in this case, his name is Vishal and he's 5 year old. I observed that they are always outside. Actually, they are always outside and explorative. So whenever this some auto is coming, so there is some place where it's difficult to move. So they will actually help that driver. I mean, just pushing that auto, and they naturally help it actually. And even to take out, they will help, and there is no no one asks actually, either neither driver asks or no one actually tell anything to those children. They just do that naturally and spontaneously. Yeah, even these four-wheel sellers, there is a cart to carry these some of these objects, so or some vegetables, so they will help. It's a very heavy actually. One day I tried, it was very heavy. So but these children naturally go there and then they help actually. Yeah, so these are some observations in terms of value development in the children nearby community. You can absolutely see clear difference. Absolutely, I can see clear difference how these children are and how outside children are actually. Yeah. So any questions? I'm just sharing some of my reflections. Later we can. Yeah. So these are just some of my reflections, like how I just started uh, observing all these things. So initially, I just started with senses, like we're just dividing, like a touch, a eye, what it is doing, how sound is listening, all these things. So I just started viewing from senses how that particular object is getting experienced. Then slowly, I moved to looking from an object view. So how the object is there and how he is actually exploring that object. Why that particular object is not getting explored in a different way. So all these things. So there is a curiosity definitely. So that's how I started. And later on, I just started as an activity as a whole. Like now, I can't just see like okay, he's just touching. He's just I can't see like that and then document. Now I'm just seeing whole activity as a one activity. So that's how I just started, and I'm just carrying on this one. And definitely, this the fantastic being in beauty workshop. As I told, right, it was happened in December 2023. So it was just amazing to sensitize our senses, and I mean, now we became, I can say, it's a choiceless seeing. Like we don't particularly there to see what the child is doing. We just see, I mean, without any choice. So it was definitely there are so much improvement actually. And yeah, I can say that this is one fantastic thing, the 6 months observation what Jinan also talked about. So it has a community group and WhatsApp group, and we share all these observations yeah, daily or one day later or something. And definitely I can say it has a significant impact in the last 6 months, and it gave a lot very good opportunity to see each other observation. So how another person is observing, and so it gives an opportunity to see that. It's not how he's seeing, but it's how another child is exploring. So what else I can see when another child is exploring? So that also I will get my view. So it's not just our child, but it's everyone. Like it gave that feeling that okay, everyone is doing something. So and it's definitely learning from each other, and there is a thorough systematic documentation is happening, and yeah. So yeah, observe other children as well. Yeah, I can say it's very interesting journey throughout. although whatever I showed, there is no verbal communication, but even then, it was very interesting to see what the child is doing, and mainly revisiting observations once in a while. All these things, it was very interesting, and so that's what I can say. Uh, yeah, overall, I can say it's very interesting experience. These are some of my reflections. Definitely, there are many reflections. I'm just putting uh, from my inside out, like what are the best things, what I experienced in last few months, actually. So yeah, I think this is the end. I think, yeah. So there are any questions or anything, yeah, we can take it. Just to summarize, right? So we saw how the world is actually teaching the child to explore, and we also seen some of the expressions and gestures are actually taking place uh, for the child natural communication, and also we also gone through the value development in the caretaker family children. Some of things from my side. Yeah, any questions or anything? Yeah.
You can escape from the, you can, come out of the.
Yeah. Maybe can I close this one?
I have a question, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. And sorry if I missed this earlier. Did you find that like your other family or people around you, like were they receptive to your letting your child just be? Or did you also find some challenges in that way?
Yeah.
You can come out of the sharing, please.
Yeah.
Stop sharing. Yeah, better. Now,
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I can say very minimal actually. I mean, actually, we have a combined family, and but yeah, so there are very minimal things actually. So one thing I can say is we might have actually provided more environment in terms of cooking. Usually we cook, right? So we also give freedom to experience that. But many times, because of our busy schedules or something, so we may not be able to just do that all the time. So I can say, yeah, there is a minimal resistance even from others. So so it was not much significant. There was a little bit, I can say, but not more than that. Yeah. And yeah, I don't find any challenge. Of course, unless I go somewhere outside, some my relatives' place or something. So they're normal. Like I mean, they also give freedom definitely, but not to the extent what we carry in our home. So yeah, only those places we face some challenges, but otherwise I think it's fine. It was normal. Yeah, even with my spouse, I think she's like same mindset as me mostly. So she gave a lot of I should not call freedom, but we don't say anything like that actually. So we go one in one hand in hand kind of thing. So
Sorry, one more question for me.
yes, yes, sure, sure.
Do you think like in situations of danger, do you think that your son was like receptive to your urgency? Like could he sense like when he did need to obey, if you will?
Your question is how he was, uh, I mean, looking at us to accept the danger. I mean, that's what you mean, or can you brief your
Sorry, say that
question?
again.
Can you come again? That question.
Mila, please
Just
ask
like I
again.
wonder, I mean, like in situations of danger, I'm wondering if your child was receptive to you, like, you know, obeying whatever it is you're saying. Like, I'm wondering if there is a scenario in which, like, you would have to give direction and he would have to take it, and that like that would be okay, while also giving all of this freedom. I'm wondering. Or were you guys in such flow that like that doesn't even come up?
See, what I have seen with Veeresh and his wife is that they are spending a lot of time with the child. In the sense that they are actually dedicating a lot of time just to be with the child, but not to lead the child, but to be behind the child and looking at what the child is doing. No, so I'm just, my assumption is that not many situations like that. And also they have done, the I mean, one main thing is that the fear from their head is out now.
Yeah.
Vinesh, did you understand what she is asking?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I can say we did not interfere actually. So even this knife thing, the cutting knife, vegetable knife, right? So initially we just started even that knife exploration. I remember that we used to closely observe that actually. So, I mean, we make sure that, for example, I can say that he's not standing actually. Let's say if he fall, so it may hurt him. So we will give here and there, like for example, just making him sit at one place, something like that. We give certain kind of things. It's not a direct one, I can say, but certain aspects we also did that. But it was not mainly resistance to him. Like he never also asks any permission kind of thing. Like he was exploring. Yeah, the one or two explorations like that. Even with fire, right? So we used to do this puja. Then that fire also you want to touch and then just see what happens actually. So yeah, I mean one or two times he also just had some hurt. Then he started, I think. I mean now he explores better. I think we just showed some way here and there, but not completely instructing him anything. Hope I think that answers your question actually.
Thank you.
But one more thing, what I can share is it's mainly, I mean, as we have to observe a child for some more time. Actually, it's not just one exploration just reveal what the child is doing. So then with this caretaker community children, right? Initially we understand different way, but slowly we observe that lot of I mean aesthetic awareness and a lot of value development which happened. So at least we need to spend some time, I can say. In order to observe the children, I think definitely we can really make sense of it, and it's very interesting. Any questions or any inputs?
Hi, I have a question, but it's a general question on the overall observation the last 3 days the last three classes that we've had. So I'm still in the transition zone, which is like the no man's land right now. So I am experiencing a few questions that arise based on my wiring, which I'm trying to change over this unstructured phase of parenting. I was trying to understand how can a child learn something that could be useful that we don't do currently. Like for example, in the previous class, one of the question was did the son pick up reading while watching the mother, or did he just pick up otherwise? So, I mean, that was just one question that was asked, and she said, no, once in a while I read, and sometimes I'm just on the phone because we travel a lot and other things. So I just wanted to understand, is it always necessary for them to pick up something from, like, how do you help them pick up something that could be useful but not something that you practice as parents, as a family?
No, actually, some example would be good. What exactly do you have
Like,
in
for
mind?
example, sir, I mean, music. Like, none of us, I feel like to some extent it does help them in their general synaptic tuning kind of development. That's what I've read, but I don't know what is true anymore because, like I said, I'm in the transition phase, so I don't know. I'm still exploring these ideas. So, for example, music is what one of my concern was. Not like a keyboard, for example, because that's a machine basically. I was just thinking, like, I'm from Hampi, so I have a lot of these tribal, friends rather who play these musics made with stews and sticks. So just things like that. So because I don't know that, nor does anybody in the family does. So how can you help, or rather, how can you encourage such kind of activities with the kids when things are not practiced at home?
So, who is this talking? Acha, Vaishnavi.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes,
You see, there are certain principles that we must keep in mind.
right.
The child, unless the child experiences things, the child will not learn.
Correct, correct.
But that said, there are certain inherent abilities, dormant within us. For example, our ability to speak is dormant.
Correct, correct.
If the child is not going to hear anybody speaking, the child will never speak. All right?
Right, 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 sir.
There are certain rules that we must keep in mind. Then the third thing is that whatever the child experiences, it will pick up that. Which means that if you are actually teaching your child, then the child will not learn the manner in which, for example, you recollect how you learned your mother tongue and how you learned your second language.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe in that idea of not trying to be a teacher, but because they, like you said the other day, they become good teachers instead of becoming a learner by looking at you teaching.
So what
So
the precise, listen please, the precise
yes,
point I'm trying to make is that if you want the child to naturally learn music, the child must experience somebody actually doing music, not as a teacher, but just as somebody who is singing.
right, right,
Please understand that the Indian traditional classical music, before we started interfering, we meaning the modern educated people, started interfering with it, it was not done in the manner that now it is being taught. It was
right,
also learned in a very organic manner. But the environment existed.
right,
So
sir, right,
environment is always important. So the musical sensibility, or what we can call a sense of rhythm, it could be in doing things, it could be in singing. See, two are different things now.
mm,
So each of our senses has its ability.
right,
It could be a physical sense of rhythm, which could, move from drumming to maybe to dance or something like that. But it could be vocal also, na. But
correct.
that
Yes,
is
sir,
that is inherent and it is within. But
right.
the external condition can awaken it in a very natural manner.
Got it, got
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Anything for that matter. It can be swimming, it can be cycling, it can be anything actually. So other very important thing we must understand is that I talk about product orientation and process orientation. In natural cognition, in natural systems, what we have is process orientation, which means that there is no ready-made knowledge to be mugged up, to be learned in a methodical manner. So what we have is modernity, is that modern educated people belong to product orientation, which means there is a ready-made knowledge. People have created methods and all kinds of tricks to teach something. So teaching becomes important. Creation of method becomes important. So none of this is actually required for a natural learning system. The content should be there. That's all. Somebody learning, somebody doing, performing. Somebody who is involved in doing things. That's all what is required. Child will pick up on their own. So child may not pick up music. Maybe the child might pick up drumming, for example, or something else. So this is not a must. That whatever is there, the child will learn is not a must.
Right, right.
Understand, huh?
Yes, sir.
Anybody?
Yes, sir. I'm Swati. So my question is, my kids are 3.5 years old, and how when I'm cutting vegetables, they're around me, and they want to use the knife as well. How do I tell them that it is little dangerous without introducing fear into them?
You don't have to tell anything. They take care of themselves. Absolutely. And please don't also give them fake knives.
Okay.
Give them proper knives and see whether they will murder you. If they don't, then that is fine. You see,
Okay.
unwanted fears you carry, unwanted fears.
Actually, you can give knives to them, and they can share with you. I mean, they can work with you, cutting vegetables and all. So, unless and until
Yeah.
you tell them it is dangerous, it won't be dangerous for them. And you won't give very sharp knives, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we will
No,
give only
see,
simple
the
knives.
point is not that. The point is, if you don't, sharp knife is also fine, but it's not that, it should not cut your, it should not be such that you chop the finger, na?
That's what
Yeah.
You see, in the village, people don't fake knives. Whatever knife is there, children use it. And they learn to take care. So understand, see, the problem with if you don't give sharp knife is that they will be more frustrated because when they cut, it won't cut. Simple.
Yeah, that's what happens. I give fake scissors, fake knife. Then they are frustrated. Don't want to use it. They want to come to the real knife that I'm using.
So these are all problems we are creating for them. Please understand.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying even if I know it cuts once in a while, that's okay. You put band-aid and move on in life.
Yeah. I mean, all these are our imaginations here. I mean, you can imagine. It's an endless imagination possible now because of the modern mind is so much afraid of everything.
Yeah, I see. Thank you.
Mainly floor, we have that's what we used to see, like for cutting vegetable, right? We should not. If it is a floor, I think it's better actually. But
little louder. Veeresh, you have to be a little louder.
Yeah. My point is better to use a floor. Just sit and cut, but not for them. Just as a practice actually. So
Okay, sit on the floor and cut. Okay.
Yeah, see, one of the changes, Vaishnavi, for you also, one of the major changes that we are asking people to do is to start using the floor. So that it's easier for children to, first of all, it's easy for children to see what is happening in the kitchen. And then falling down won't happen because they are already down.
Right.
Yeah.
So we usually try and remove as many furniture as possible. Start using the ground, sit down and eat, do all the kitchen work on the ground, lie down on the ground. So you basically start using the ground as a space for doing all the activities. So naturally, when you're cutting vegetables, they're seeing, no. See, the problem in modern household is that everything that is happening is beyond children's visual thing. 3 feet above, all the activities are happening, which means children don't see anything. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, Veeresh,
Yeah, that's
very much.
yeah. Thank you everyone, and
Yeah. So day after we have the final one, and maybe we can have more discussions on that after that.
sure.
Thank you, Veeresh.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Thanks. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.